Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we try to cut through the noise and get straight to the insights. Today, we're tackling something I think, well, everyone faces, those repetitive tasks, right? And just this constant overload of information that swamps businesses. Imagine having a real shortcut, a way to automate the busy work, free up your people for the stuff that really matters. That shortcut is often automation, and today we're diving deep into one specific tool, N8n, that's Node.
Exactly. And our mission today really is to unpack why companies are now actively looking for specialized N8n software engineers. We'll get into what N8n actually is, the benefits, and crucially, what skills these experts really need to have. It's this unique blend of flexibility and power aimed at streamlining things, giving businesses a real strategic edge. We want to give you the insights to understand this whole area.
Okay, let's get into it then. So, N8n, at its core, what is it? We hear about automation tools all the time. What makes this node thing different?
Right, so it's an open source workflow automation tool. The first thing you'll notice is this visual builder. It lets you connect apps, APIs, databases pretty seamlessly. But here's the key difference, I think. Unlike a lot of the closed SaaS platforms, the usual suspects, N8n is often self-hosted, and it's incredibly customizable.
Ah, okay. Self-hosted. So that means organizations get complete control, no vendor saying you can only run this X times, no data limits.
That's exactly it. Complete control, scalability, flexibility. It avoids that vendor lock-in. And another big thing is how it mixes this no-code drag-and-drop approach with the power to actually inject custom code, JavaScript, Python, right into any step, any node.
A hybrid model.
Yeah. So you can do the simple stuff visually, really fast. But for that tricky 20%, the custom logic that makes your business unique. You've got the precision of code. You can build things you just couldn't with only no code or only coding everything from scratch.
That does sound powerful. But okay, if it has these easy no-code parts, why hire dedicated N8n engineers? Couldn't say an existing IT person just learn it? Or is there more to it?
Well, they could learn the basics, sure. But bringing in specialists, that really turns automation from just a tool into a genuine strategic advantage. Their deep knowledge of the platform means you get solutions that are efficient, truly scalable, and tailored perfectly.
Yeah.
You avoid the sort of generic one-size-fits-none approach. It's not just about automating what you already do. It's about enabling completely new, intelligent workflows that can adapt on the fly. That's something off-the-shelf tools often struggle with.
Right. So it's moving beyond just connecting app A to app B. It's handling the really complicated stuff, the mission-critical processes.
Absolutely. You need dedicated folks for complex logic. Conditional branching, proper error handling. Things get complex fast. They know how to structure workflows optimally, debug them effectively, keep things clean so you don't hit performance walls later on. And they're fast. They use templates, common patterns. They can often get solutions deployed in days, not weeks. And make sure they're robust, ready for production.
Days versus weeks, that's a huge difference. What about older systems, though? Lots of companies still have legacy stuff. Can N8n engineers actually bridge that gap? Or is it mostly for new cloud-based tech? What's the biggest hurdle there?
That's a great point, and actually a real strength. These specialists are good at that. They build API wrappers, use middleware, transform data formats. Basically, they create translators so the old system can talk to the new apps without needing a massive, expensive replacement project.
Yeah.
That's a huge win for established businesses. And they build with the future in mind, thinking about scaling, using techniques like parallel processing, handling rate limits, chunking data, ensuring it stays reliable as things grow.
Building for today, scaling for tomorrow.
Got it. Okay, let's broaden out again. The core benefits of N8n itself.
Yeah.
We mentioned open source, but what else makes it so attractive?
Well, yeah, the open source part means the unlimited customization. You can even tweak the source code if you need to. And self-hosting gives total control, no artificial limits. But also, its integration with AI and machine learning is really smooth. Think OpenAI, Hugging Face. You can embed NLP, predictive analytics, even autonomous decision-making right into a workflow.
Wow, okay, so you're not just automating tasks, you're automating intelligence. That sounds incredibly powerful. How many integrations does it have out of the box? Does that speed things up? It does. It has over 350 pre-built connectors now. Salesforce, Slack, HubSpot, databases like MySQL, Teams, tons of common tools. These connectors save a massive amount of time. They handle the authentication, the data formatting. A lot of the tedious API work is just done. And if there isn't a connector, there's always the REST API node. You can connect to pretty much anything that has an API. But going back to self-hosting for a second, that data ownership piece is critical. For sensitive data, keeping it within your own infrastructure is often non-negotiable for compliance, GDPR, IPFE, finance rules. You control the audit trails, the encryption.
Yeah, that data sovereignty is huge, absolutely. Okay, let's get practical. N8n in action. What are some key features that make these complex workflows possible, and what kinds of real-world problems are people solving with it?
Feature-wise, besides those 350-plus connectors, the custom node support is key. That's the hybrid power again. If a pre-built node doesn't do exactly what you need, you inject your own JavaScript or Python. For unique transformations or talking to really niche APIs, that's essential.
And the logic inside the flow, how does it make decisions, like distinguishing between customer types and routing them differently?
Oh, yeah, it's got all that. Conditional logic of if and else. Loops for repeating actions. Branching for different paths. So workflows can be really smart. They adapt based on the data. Tiered onboarding, like you said, or escalating support tickets based on urgency. That's bread and butter. And triggers, it can react instantly to things like webhooks or run on a schedule, polling for changes. So real-time or batch processing.
Right, instant reaction versus running every night. Okay, but things break sometimes, right? How does N8n help you figure out what went wrong?
Yeah, inevitably. That's where the execution history and monitoring are crucial. Every time a workflow runs, it logs everything, detailed steps, the data at each stage, any errors. You can see exactly where it failed, replay it, maybe tweak the data and try again. You can set up alerts too, get a Slack message if a critical process fails. It gives you that necessary visibility.
That audit trail sounds vital. Okay, let's talk use cases. Concrete examples. How are companies actually using this? I remember hearing about a marketing team just drowning in moving data between their CRM and email tool manually. How fast could N8n fix that?
Oh, that's a perfect use case. An N8n engineer could likely automate that in just a few days. Syncing customer data is super common, like keeping Salesforce and Zendesk perfectly in sync bidirectionally. No more manual updates or inconsistencies. Another big one, automated reporting. Pulling data from databases, maybe Stripe or QuickBooks, transforming it, and generating PDF or Excel reports, sent straight to the finance team every morning, say.
Huge time saver, especially for finance. What about reacting instantly, like an e-commerce payment failing?
Yeah, perfect. Processing webhook events from Stripe, Shopify, etc. A failed payment instantly trigger an email sequence, or a high-value purchase could ping the account manager on Slack. Low inventory. Automatically trigger a reorder API call to the supplier, maybe with retries built in for temporary network issues. You can also make alerts smarter. Correlate data from monitoring tools like Datadog. Don't just alert on any server error, but maybe only when it happens during a traffic spike. Filter the noise.
That is smart, reducing alert fatigue. You mentioned AI earlier, too. Can you give a concrete example? How does N8n use AI in a workflow, and how do those integrations help?
Sure, imagine a support ticket comes into Zendesk. That's a built-in integration. N8n can grab the ticket text, send it to an OpenAI node, another integration for sentiment analysis. If the AI flags it as highly negative, the workflow uses conditional logic to maybe escalate it automatically in Zendesk and send an urgent Slack message, yet another integration to the manager, possibly with an AI-generated summary. That's intelligence embedded directly. Less manual triage, faster response to unhappy customers, or using forecasting for inventory, NLP for screening resumes. Always with options for human review, of course.
That really shows the potential. Okay, so if someone listening is thinking, right, I need this, what should they look for in an N8n developer? What's the ideal profile?
It's really a mix. You need strong technical skills, obviously, but also that strategic thinking, building for the long haul. Technically, JavaScript or TypeScript is pretty essential for those custom functions, handling data. Strong API knowledge, REST, GraphQL, OAuth authentication, understanding how APIs work, pagination. That's crucial. And database skills. SQL, maybe some NoSQL. They'll be building data pipelines, querying things, writing back results.
So fundamentally a good developer who specializes in N8n. What about experience with other tools like Zapier or Make? Is that helpful?
Oh, absolutely. Experience with any workflow automation platform is highly relevant. Zapier, Make, formerly Integromat, even enterprise BPM tools like Camunda. It shows they understand the concepts. Multi-step logic, error handling, asynchronous tasks, managing triggers, timeouts. These concepts transfer. You want someone who's built more than just simple two-step apps.
Debugging seems like it would be key. What are the common traps people fall into when debugging complex Acto flows? Any tips?
Debugging is huge, yes. The biggest trap. Probably jumping straight into the code or blaming the external API without fully using any N8n's own tools. My top tip, methodically check the input and output data shown in the execution log for each node, step by step. That visual trace usually pinpoints the problem much faster than guesswork. And, crucially, a good developer designs for failure. They build in safe retries, maybe ways to roll back, to avoid creating duplicate data or losing information if something hiccups mid-flow. They should also know how to use platform-specific features like triggers in Salesforce or interactive messages in Slack and manage credentials securely using variables, not hard-coding things.
Good point. And what takes someone from just being a good N8n developer to being, like, exceptional, an architect?
The architects think bigger picture. They design for scale from the start, using techniques like data chunking, maybe message queues, parallel processing so the workflow doesn't choke on large volumes. They master that balance between using the visual builder for speed and dropping into code for power and precision. They know when to use which. And, critically, they document everything clearly. Inline comments in nodes, workflow diagrams, setup guides, so the whole team understands it and it's maintainable long after they've built it.
That documentation point is gold, often missed. So if a company wants to find one of these architects or even just a solid N8 dev, where should they look?
Well, one effective route mentioned in our sources is looking at specialized agencies, including offshore ones. Companies like WeblineIndia were mentioned. They often have deep expertise, can be cost-effective, and offer reliability. You get access to vetted talent without the full overhead of hiring in-house immediately. They usually have flexible models 2 hourly for small tasks, fixed price for projects, or dedicated teams for ongoing work.
Right, different models for different needs. And interviewing. Any tips for screening candidates effectively? What questions would you ask?
Definitely ask technical questions about how they handle things in N8n. Conditional logic, debugging strategies, maybe ask if they built custom nodes. But then give them a scenario, a practical test. Design a workflow that does X, Y, and Z. For example, pull Shopify orders, filter the high-value ones, alert sales on Slack, and log it in a database. See how they structure it, how they think about potential issues like API limits or errors. That tells you a lot more than just theory.
That's a solid approach. Okay, last piece. You've hired someone great. How do you work together effectively? Best practices for collaboration.
Clear goals are number one. Be really specific about what the automation needs to do. Steps, inputs, outputs, expected results. Use structured documentation, workflow maps, setup instructions. It helps everyone stay on the same page, especially down the line. Communicate regularly. Check-ins, using Slack or Teams. Don't let questions linger and cause delays. And manage access securely. Use proper credential management, environment variables in N8n. Never share raw passwords or API keys in chats or code. Basic security hygiene, but vital.
This has been incredibly useful. A real deep dive into N8n and the engineers making it sing. It's clear getting the right expertise here can make a massive difference, reducing costs, cutting errors, freeing up time, whether it's a new project or plugging into existing systems.
Absolutely. And what's really exciting, I think, is how N8n facilitates this deep integration. It connects disparate systems and allows intelligence to flow between them in ways that really weren't easy before. It's a genuine competitive advantage builder.
So thinking about that and the rapid pace of AI integration we discussed, it leaves you wondering, doesn't it? How might these intelligent workflows powered by tools like N8n fundamentally reshape whole industries? And maybe more importantly, what human skills become even more valuable as this kind of automation becomes the norm? Something to think about.